Welcome to another episode of Athletes Wisdom Podcast. We're here, we talk about how to build a business, how to make sure you're building your branding, your image, and even financial literacy tips to help you as a college athlete learn how to structure your own business and be able to actually make money inside and outside of NIL. Actually an amazing guest with me here today. Look, NIL, name, image, and likeness is for your name, image, and likeness, right? So in order to actually be able to build that properly, you need someone who can actually help you craft your image. So I actually have an amazing guest here, Tierra. She is a certified image consultant for athletes as well. So she knows what she's talking about, all right? So make sure you heed to her advice and listen carefully, all right? Welcome, Tierra.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation because it needs to be had.
I like it. So, crazy enough, we were actually supposed to, of course, have this interview weeks ago, but it didn't work out well. The schedule didn't align as they were supposed to. I ended up getting a little cold or whatever. And then I ended up meeting you at, the Black Sports Business Symposium. Didn't even know you were going to be there. I was thinking about hitting you up, but I was like, I don't know, maybe she's not. And we just ran into each other, so that's actually kind of crazy.
That is crazy. And I was super shocked to see you. And then even just how I met you, then I met some others, that, I am having different conversations with now in regards to image. So The alignment is crazy. So I'm glad that I went because I was not going to go the first day, but I ended up going. So glad I went.
That event was really true.
It was an amazing event, actually.
So for those who might not be familiar with you, right, can you just provide a quick introduction about yourself? Who you are, how you got started into what you do, and, why is it so important to you?
Right. I am Tierra Simone. I was born and raised in Oxford, Alabama. I recently just moved to Atlanta last March. I love Atlanta. It has been one of the most interesting places and just an overall place to thrive. So I absolutely love living in Atlanta. So I got into image consulting because I've always loved fashion, right? Fashion has always been my thing. And when it came to image, I didn't realize that I was focused on image, even, in high school and in college up until now. But I would practice it all the time. But the thing is that I will only focus on my appearance and etiquette. So when it came to behavior and communication, I had a hard time with that, due to, different relationships I've been in, different experiences, because that can kind of shape, how you behave and how you communicate. So when I, decided that, okay, I really do want to fix these things about myself on how I behave, how I communicate, when my emotions are involved, I, did my time in therapy and I realized, okay, now I am the full package. Once I heal, once I, fix those toxic things about myself, and once I, healed and transition into now I'm focused on appearance, behavior, communication, and etiquette. Now I'm the full package. Now I can be truly authentic, with myself when it comes to my image now and how I come into rooms and how I, maintain those relationships and so forth. So, and that has really been my journey. It's been, it's been a wild ride. It's been fun, but also it has been a learning experience for me. So with my journey, I was like, okay, I wonder how many other people are dealing with this, who may only focus on the outward appearance and not the inward.
Exactly.
And when when it came out that college athletes are now able to get NIL deals, which stands for name, image, and likeness, I'm like, okay, I see a niche here that I can go into, that I can really thrive and really educate and teach, these athletes on how to maintain and have a great image instead of having to make a mistake and potentially tarnish their image before it's even created. So that's how I got started with image consulting, and that is how I'm currently here.
So I know you said in there, right, you originally didn't even realize that you were on this path of becoming an image consultant, and it more so stemmed from, fashion and whatnot, right? So can you just kind of go more into what inspired you to become an image consultant and the background of how you've slowly built to where you are now?
Absolutely. So my journey with image consulting, I was raised in a household where image was you act a certain way at all times. Like when you leave this house, you act a certain way. When you're in the house, you act a certain way. So with that being said, I was raised in that environment, right? I was raised in that environment. So once I got on my own and I'm networking, I have this vision in my head, like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go into marketing. I want to do web design. I potentially want to do fashion. I knew that I was going to have to create those relationships. So in order to maintain longevity with your relationships, you have to know how to behave. You have to know how to thoroughly communicate. When you are going to different networking events, appearance, first impression is everything. So needs to be at your top priority. Also, when you go to networking events, etiquette is very important. You have to know how to spark up those conversations. You have to know how to properly eat. You don't want to talk to someone with your mouth full. So it's so many. So it's so many things that really I was already doing that I didn't realize it. And then when I wanted to really take it to the next level and get certified in it, and when I read those things, I'm like, oh wow, okay. I now see that I've already been doing these things, and I just truly just wanted to do a deep dive into it to help other people and to educate other people on it, because a lot of people wasn't raised, in those types of households like I was.
And it's crazy to think that, because when you're young, when you're being raised on those principles, right, as a kid, you think the whole world is like that, right? So it's like when you get out into the world and you realize, like, wow, people. And it's crazy, like, one of the etiquettes you said, right, and this is kind of serious into the next question, but one of the etiquettes you said, as far as, like, not talking with your mouth full of food or smacking.
Right.
Oh, my dad, oh my goodness, if you smack your food, he pops you in the mouth. He'd tell you once, but it's like a lot of those things, people, like, learning how to hold a knife and a fork properly.
Correct.
Like, even something as simple as that goes into a lot of what you do as far as your personal image, what you do in public, in business, like you said, networking events. And it's like, although you would think it's something that everyone should know, it honestly and unfortunately isn't, right? So we need people like that. And it's so, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, it just made it easy as far as the transition, because like you said, it was something that just you grew up doing.
Right. And I was never afraid to go into event, because I never had to feel like, oh, are people going to look at me different, or, am I afraid of doing something wrong? I always went into an event confident. I was able to create those relationships, spark up conversations, have appropriate conversations. Because let's be honest, everyone does not have appropriate conversations. So I never went in wondering, was I going to quote unquote fit in? I went in my authentic self. I've never had an issue with that. And I was able to get what I need out of each networking event or business dinner that I went to. And here we are.
So we talk about, of course, image, etiquette, like you said, name, image, and likeness, right? No like trust factor, essentially. But what goes into, your profession? Like, can you explain more about what a certified image consultant is, and what are like certain things that someone needs in their image? Like, what does that include for them?
So a certified image consultant, we focus on 4 key areas. We focus on behavior, communication, and etiquette. Now, appearance means that, I focus on your outward appearance, because at first you need to tell me what type of idea or plan or vision that you have for your life, because I can't really give you a plan unless I know where you want to go. And once you tell me that, for example, if someone says that, okay, I want to be a real estate investor, I want to be a man or woman that is in business. Okay, now I know that, okay, we need to kind of transition your closet into having more business casual things, business professional things, and so forth. And then communication, we focus on verbal and nonverbal communication, because body language talks a lot more than you actually speaking, and a lot of people do not know that. And then the third thing is behavior. So behaviors come from your moral principles, and it comes from your values. What are some of the things that you value? how were you raised? What environments were you, involved in? So those things those key things really shape our behavior, how we behave.
Exactly.
Because if you don't know that it's wrong because of the environments that you're in, then you're going to continue to behave in a certain way. And then the fourth area, I would say, and so the fourth area is etiquette. So we focus on dining etiquette and business etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
So the dining etiquette piece is, of course, like when you go to those business dinners, you want to know which forks to eat with, just having proper table manners.
Mm-hmm.
And then business etiquette is, of course, like networking events, how you spark those conversations with appropriate conversations and so forth. So those are the four key areas that we focus on that I see that are not being discussed, because within the sports industry, so many people only focus on the appearance and they focus on the media aspect and the talent, but people do not focus on the actual individual.
Exactly.
So that's where I come in. I focus on the actual individual and help you authentically take your life and the way you behave and how you appear and how you communicate to the next level.
And I like the fact that you use the word authentically, right? Because like you said, a lot of people focus on basically the outside shell, like what everybody always sees. But the biggest thing when it comes in any aspect of life is relationships. And certain relationships are built in certain ways depending on your environment.
Absolutely.
So in professional environments, you need to be authentic in being professional, not just trying to put on a facade. And for some people, it comes easier than others. For some people, you just have to learn and work on it more, right? But that is still something that if you have the proper etiquette, like you said, right? And the proper authentic self, it translates easier when trying and building these relationships in these bigger spaces, essentially.
Absolutely.
In these more prominent spaces that I would imagine these athletes essentially want to go to. So,
and let me say this, when it's not authentic, eventually it will crack. Eventually, at some point, whether it is a situation, whether it is a chain of events, whether it is whatever the case may be, and you don't want to be on the other side of that where you are presenting yourself one way, but when people get to know you, they're not really interested in keeping communication or the relationship because it's going to be different. So that's what I would say about that. And that's why I push being authentic and really doing that self-work, because it's not a microwavable process. I tell people that all the time. You can't just do it overnight. You have to authentically change and truly work on yourself wholeheartedly.
And it's the same way, I guess, when it comes to just working on their craft. It's working on the image with the same amount of work, right?
And dedication.
So I know we talked about the four main areas that you go over with your clients, but what are like the actual services, right, that you provide, and how do they differ from maybe some of the other professionals in the sports and entertainment industry that you essentially do?
So the few services that I offer is, of course, image preparation. That's number one. I do offer personal styling as well. And I do offer web design and digital marketing services. I have 5 years of web design and digital marketing service. So that's where I started. And I would say just creating a fitting plan. So that kind of goes into like my digital marketing services. And I would say what makes me different is simply because I am truly getting to know this individual and I am bringing to life what they want for themselves. And so that's why I preach about writing out that vision and those goals for yourself so that I can further know how I can create a plan for you so that we can make these dreams that you have for yourself into a reality.
Exactly. I like that. So let's just say, there was either someone watching this or a client that wanted to, essentially acquire your services, right? Like what would the typical just like consultation process be? Not even the full enhancement. Like how do you assess, because I know you said you also have to assess their needs, but like how do you assess their needs and how do you make sure you do something that's tailored for them, right? Because you can offer certain services as a whole, right? Like but they're still different to each individual client, right? So
Absolutely.
how does the consultation process work and how do you assess who needs what and how do you tailor it for them?
So I would say the first thing that I would do is, of course, we have a consultation, and I will send you a form to fill out. And I keep talking about writing a vision for your life. I'm going to keep talking about it because there is no possible way that you can move forward with this image process until we figure that part out. So first, you're going to fill that form out. So you're going to let me know your answers to that. Then I will go and do a assessment of how you present yourself on social media, because that's been a huge thing here lately. You know, how people show up on social media, you know, because a lot of people will rather post things for clickbait to gain followers or exposure in a negative light. So I go look at that. And then so we'll just have that third conversation where I will take all of the things that I have gathered and I will present them to you to make sure that, okay, make sure that I have a better understanding as of what you're wanting. And then we will begin that process of having weekly meets between like 30 to 45 minutes. And we're just going to go through my PowerPoint presentation, and we're just going to just iron out where you want to be appearance wise, where you are from a behavioral standpoint, how thoroughly you communicate, and the areas where we can dissect and change and improve how you communicate. And then we're going to, of course, have some etiquette training, whether it's virtual or in person as well. So we just pretty much do a deep dive of each section, and that's how my process goes with, you know, helping you go to another level as far as image.
And there was something you said in there essentially as looking over essentially their social media, right? Because that is a large part of someone's public brand.
Correct.
And like we said earlier, right? If you change yourself authentically, it's also a big part of your personal brand.
Right.
So how do you essentially like not only help them understand the importance of personal branding, but how do you take the necessary steps to pivot their personal branding in a way that is not only beneficial to them, obviously, because like you said, people will find the smallest thing and make it into clickbait just because you are starting to get fame, so they want to get some of that as well, right? So how do you help them understand the importance of personal branding and then help them pivot in a way that personal branding is not only beneficial to them as a person, but also to them as a business, right? Because we are still in this NIM even outside of sports, right? Your brand is your business now, right? So how do you help somebody build a brand to where they're able to make money in their own business, and even say with partnerships, endorsements, things like that nature?
So I would say with personal branding, we have to start there first, because personal branding is who you are as a person. So doing that self-work. So we're going to have a lot of conversations. Let me just say that working with me, we're going to have a lot of real and authentic conversations about where you are from a mental health standpoint, you know, where are you from an internal standpoint. So I do have people that is on my team, you know, that are certified in helping people as far as like life coaching. So, you know, we have to bring that into, you know, our plan, then that's something that we can do. And as far as, you know, just continuing to work on yourself from a personal standpoint, I mean, it takes time. You know, no one is able to master emotional intelligence right off the bat. Like, that takes time. So when things happen, you know, when things go wrong, you know, I want to be available to you to, you know, have a conversation before, you know, you do anything, you know, that may tarnish your reputation or your brand. And as far as, you know, what
steps do you help them take in order to create and enhance their personal brand?
Okay. So the steps that I help them take to enhance their personal brand is just doing that behind the scene work. Like I said before, just having those conversations, and hopefully a person will be honest with me about, you know, some of their weaker areas. And so we will tackle those weaker areas and make them into great areas, or I will have to be honest and tell them, hey, if you continue to do this could really hurt you in the long run. So, I mean, I just do like a simple assessment of how an actual person is, how their morals are, how their character is, how their integrity is. And I will just, you know, call out different things, and we will begin to, like I said, transition and help them become better.
So you said that obviously, like, it's a step-by-step process. You have to work towards it. And oftentimes, you know, there are things that aren't going to be as easy, right? So what are some of the most common challenges that your client's face in building their personal brand, right? And their image and whatever the case is. And how do you help them overcome those, like those certain obstacles?
So it just goes back into what I said before, being available to be a listening ear to them. Most of my clients struggle with unlearning bad behavior. It is the hardest thing. And
these are already habits.
I mean, these are habits that you've probably had since you've 19, 25, 30, you have been doing the same thing over and over again. And so my goal for them is to just be supportive of them, be that listening ear, understanding that they are growing, not passing judgment, because I know sometimes, people feel like, well, you're judging me. So I just want to create a safe space for them to be able to grow, to learn, and to change their unlearned behaviors into something more positive. Because to be honest, we all have good traits about ourselves and we all have bad traits. That's who we are. We're human. But we can look at some of those bad traits and say, hey, I can actually turn this into a positive and do that. And then some of those bad traits we have to change, because if we do not change them, we're going to find ourselves in the same position or in the same situation, different person, or in the same space again next year.
Exactly.
Not progressing, not moving forward, not growing. So who wants to do that? So just taking that time to truly do a deep dive within yourself and change those bad things that's going to hinder you from growing and elevating and getting those partnership deals, getting those long-term NIL deals that you are seeking and wanting for yourself.
Exactly. So perfect pivot, right? In regards to the NIL deals, and a lot of these NIL deals are based on how someone has built their essential social media following and how they are on social media, right? So in your opinion, how has the rise of social media been able to influence the way people perceive their own image, and how has it impacted your work as an image consultant?
Listen, social media is such a gift and a curse, because you have some people that can gain a lot of exposure and money due to having a horrible image. I mean, we see it every day in, whether it's, certain cultures, certain industries. I mean, you see it every day. Like we see every day some people that have just tarnished their images and they are able to still make a living, due to, partnerships that actually support that behavior. So I would say that for me, I would say that social media, it is just that, but I tell my athletes that yes, you may get a quick gain, but you won't have a long-term gain, because at the end of the day, as we're seeing now, you have so many celebs who have created bad images for themselves, and now they're wanting to grow up. Now they're wanting to change, how they are perceived. We're seeing it every day. So yes, you may, like I said, you can get that quick gain or that quick buck, but you won't be able to ride the wave for a long time, because eventually it's going to get old and people are going to kind of begin to judge you based upon, okay, you've been doing this long enough, it's time to pivot. Exactly. So that's what I would say to that.
And I feel like you have to, in order to build your image and your brand, right, you have to continue to learn new things, evolve and grow, right? So how do you stay up to date with, because social media moves so fast. Like a trend can be going on for it could be a very big trend, but it can be going on for maybe a month or 3 months or 6 months, and then all of a sudden there's a new trend, right? So how do you stay up to date on the latest trends, on the things that are popping, or essentially the things that are most relevant in our society, and how do you not only stay up with them but then help your client stay up with them as well, because each client is different, right? So obviously every client is going to be with a certain trend, or not every client, they might want to go with the trend, but it might not necessarily fit their brand, right? So how do you stay up to date, and how do you make sure that's tailored for each client?
Right. So I do my research. That's how I stay on the fashion trends. As well as I would say that not every trend, like you said, is going to be catered toward each individual client. So I take those notes. I notate events. I notate those marketing tips, and I present them to each client based upon what their ideal image is for themselves. And that is just how I do it. We don't follow every trend. I don't follow every trend. I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, trends are very quick. They come and go. But my goal is to make sure that you have an image that doesn't have to change when it's something new. Your image is so well grounded and groomed that you don't have to change, or you don't have to follow the trend just to be liked or to be followed and so forth. Your brand, your image, it speaks for itself. It is authentic and people genuinely love it and are inspired by it and are tapped into it. So that's what I would say to that. Trends, I don't really like trends.
And I like that you said that, right? Because oftentimes some people are just trying to ride each trend and be known as a person who is like, either hopping on every trend.
Right.
Maybe they started some of the trends, but it's like building a niche and being your own trend is so much easier, in my opinion, because then some of those trends that people like to follow, you are essentially the originator of them, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's a super big trend or a super small trend, you still have your own identity and you're not trying to just copy off of somebody else. So during this, I feel like within the past few years, especially after COVID and the pandemic, right? People's brand and their image has become so much larger. Like you said, even with people following trends and then people creating, their own name for themselves. But how would you say the pandemic has affected whether image consulting industry or even just like the overall brand, someone's overall brand as a whole, and how have you helped not only yourself but your clients as well adapt to that, still stay relevant in your niche without, while still being able to stay fresh?
I would say, first off, with COVID, image is still equally important because now we're going to more virtual things, and having etiquette from a virtual standpoint is another conversation because some people just do not understand etiquette from a virtual standpoint, on what to do on camera, what to say on camera.
Because that's there forever.
Yes.
You have to be a bit more careful on what you do, say, because
you see so many athletes get in trouble because of what they posted
years ago.
You see actors, actresses, you've seen so many people canceled because of a video that was resurfaced from years ago. So it is equally important for you to have virtual etiquette when it comes to image consulting. And that's what I would say to that.
So what would be like the biggest piece of advice you can give college athlete that, wants to build their brand, wants to build their image? Like, what would be one of the biggest pieces? It could be one or two major, actually one. What would be the number one thing you would tell a college athlete in regards to building their brand, especially online, and how it can put them in a good position in this NIL space, right? Whether that's starting their own business or getting an NIL endorsement.
I would say the number one thing is that you are the CEO of your life. You determine how far you go, where you go, who you associate yourself with, and so forth. So with that being said, I would say that just because you are young does not mean that it gives you the right to make bad choices. I feel like that with you being the CEO of your own life, you determine what actions you showcase and how far they get you. And I would say to write that vision, write the goal, write the plan, stay on course with that plan. You're going to have so much influence on your journey. As long as you remain true to what you have written down, what your journey looks like, what your level of success means to you, I feel like that you can go wrong with doing those things. So that's what I would say, because I just literally had a conversation about that the other day. A lot of people don't understand how powerful you are as an individual. No one should be able to come into your life and steer you in any direction. Have that level of accountability for yourself so that you can remain true to yourself and also stay on the path that you want for your own self.
I like that.
So that's what I would say to that.
And like we said at the beginning of the show, right, there are some people who, whether it's through their own family and life experiences, understand these certain things, or whether it's through, them just studying, whether it's them studying through their own, just wanting to better understand branding, right?
Right.
What would be, because I'm sure there are some people who like to help other people build their image, right? Because it comes easy to them, just like how you are. So what would be one thing that you could say to somebody who maybe wants to help someone else build a brand, right? Like follow a path that essentially you were doing, because not everybody likes to necessarily be in front of.
Right.
You can have a brand you still have a strong brand that isn't very well known, but it's known to the right people. So what advice would you give to someone who maybe wants to follow the path that you're on right now?
I would say do it. I mean, what's really stopping you? Do your research, do the internship, put yourself in a position to where you can get the training and the experience that you need to move forward in regards to you going after your dreams and the things that you want to accomplish. So that's just simple. Do it. You don't need a permission slip to do what comes naturally to you. And also, you don't need a push if you truly and authentically and wholeheartedly want to help other people. Mm-hmm. We need more people that is more focused on building the communities and our youth and our in our culture versus, only being focused on yourself. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I would say to them.
So let's just say somebody wanted to get into the industry that you're in currently, mm-hmm. but they don't know where to start or who to go to, right? Are there any organizations or certifications or courses, or do you have any services to teach people who want to become a certified image consultant? Like, where could somebody start in regards to essentially following the path that you're on?
Absolutely. Come and talk to me. I would absolutely love to sit and have those courses for anybody that wants to pursue a career in image consulting. Mm-hmm. Definitely come to me, and we would just start that process in meeting on a weekly basis or on a day-to-day basis. Have those quizzes, have those tests, and have those conversations and those note-taking moments so that you can, continue to excel in this career path. Also, doing internships, going to different colleges, because before I decided to pursue a career in marketing, I essentially wanted to be a fashion designer. I could not sew. I did not like it. So I then went into fashion merchandising. So there are so many different schools, like university that is all over the country that you can go to, if you want to pursue a career in fashion and image consulting.
And where can they find you? Just because, of course, you said you want to come to you, because I obviously have you on here because I know you're an expert in this space. Right. So where could they find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Tierra. That's spelled Tierra, Simone, SIMONE __. And my website is www.thriveimageconsulting.com.
Now, finally, before we close out, could you just kind of give your thoughts on the future of image consulting and how essentially this profession might evolve and grow in the next coming years with social media being more popular, college athletes being able to make money off their name, image, and likeness, and their brand? Like, where are your thoughts on the future of image consulting?
We are about to take it over. Okay, we are about to shift the culture absolutely within all industries across the board. That is entrepreneurial industries, small business industries, as well as corporate America. I feel like that every industry needs image consulting so that you can know how to present yourself in a great space, whether it is inside or outside of your profession. And that is my take on that. We are about to shift the culture.
I love it. Well, thank you, Tierra, for coming on the show and giving your knowledge and your expertise. Thank you, listeners. Look, again, if you want to follow her, if you want to find her, go ahead and let them know again where they can find you at on all platforms.
Okay, so on Instagram, you can follow me at Tierra Simone __. And Facebook, you can follow me under Tierra Virden, and you can visit my website at www.thriveimageconsulting.com.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And look, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Any questions that you might have, go ahead and like this video and subscribe for more, because look, These are the people, these are the professionals, these are the experts that will be coming on the show and giving their knowledge and their expertise on how you can start building your brand and building your business. All right. So look, tune in next week and let's go.